You know, the greatest decision I think anybody could ever make is to ask Jesus Christ into their lives. To me, that's the greatest decision. The second greatest decision that I think anyone could make is to have a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. It's where it's like falling in love with Jesus. It's, you know, we have our boyfriend or our girlfriend or somebody that we really admire, that we exalt highly, and we think, boy, we just want to spend time with that person. And that's what I think our heart's desire should be for the Lord, is to want to spend time with Him. You know, it's us communicating with God through our prayer time and letting God communicate to us through the Bible. You know, when I was younger, back in my high school days, I was in cross country, and we were at a football game, and we were hanging out. Matt, Rob, and I, we were hanging out together, walking around the football field. And I don't know how, somehow we got into conversation about what we would do for money. And I said, for money? I said, I would do just about anything for money. And they're like, oh, no, you wouldn't. I go, well, yeah, I think I would. And they're like, well, what if we went and mixed up a bunch of food from the snack shop, and would you eat it? And I'm like, yeah, I would do that. And they're like, well, what if we gave you money to go over to the opposing team and kiss one of the cheerleaders? I'm like, I would do that. And I go, you got $5? And they're like, yeah, maybe. So they're going through the wall. Sure enough, they come up with $5. And I go, you give me $5 if I go over there and kiss one of the cheerleaders. They're like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go. So we started across the field, went around the football field, you know, where the end zone is, come back the other side. And as we're walking down the other side, I mean, lucky for me, the cheerleaders were already closest to that side that we were coming. To me, that was important, because the last thing I wanted to do was to walk up in front of the whole stands and kiss somebody's girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not very big, so if somebody came down running, I'd be like, okay, I can run cross country, so I can out-endurance him, but, you know, so this was great, because they're close. So I'm walking, and these guys are still with me, behind me. I'm walking up to this cheerleader, and, you know, they're doing their cheers, or however they do their cheers, and I'm like, hey, excuse me, can I tell you something? And she's like, well, what? Well, I mean, she's going like, what? And I'm like, well, I want to tell you something. And so, you know, she stopped, and I go, and I started to bring my face closer to hers, and she's like, well, what do you want to say? And I go, well, I want to whisper it in your ears. So just, you know, I just want to whisper it in your ear. And she's like, oh, okay. So I leaned over and I kissed her on the cheek. And I turned around, and my buddies were gone. But you know what? I got $5. You know, if you really want to do something bad enough, you're going to do it. I mean, you'll do whatever you have to do it. You know, it's like it's our relationship with the Lord. If you really want to spend time alone with the Lord, you'll do it. You'll do whatever you have to so that you can have isolated time, non-interfering time with the Lord. You know, the biggest thing I hear is, you know, when it comes time to letting God communicate to us through the Word, us communicating to God through our prayer time, the greatest excuse I hear is, I don't have time. Listen, you'll make time for that which is important to you. You'll do it. You know, Jesus, in Luke 5:16, it says, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to pray. That was important to him. Man, I want that to be important to you. I want it to be important to all of us. Where we're like, gosh, I'm going to set my phone aside. I'm going to set social media aside. I'm going to shut it off, because when I'm praying with my Lord, I don't want to hear ding like, hey, my phone. Hey, oh, it's so-and-so or whatever, you know. I just want quiet time with the Lord. And I'm going to set my alarm to get up. I don't have to sleep 10 hours every day. I want to have that time with the Lord. I don't have to I mean, sometimes you just have to set aside our activities with our friends. You know what I'm saying? God loves us. Man, He's excited when we say, Jesus, come into my life. But He's excited when we say, Jesus, I want to grow in my walk with you. Is that your heart's desire today? Is to grow closer to your Lord? Man, make time for Him. Do whatever you have to, but get that time with Him. All right?